Live from the backstretch at historic Saratoga Race Course, this is Racing Across America with Seth Merrow. Racing Across America is brought to you by Pinnell's Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, Saratoga, just minutes from the track. And the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany. When you can't make it to the track, make it to the Clubhouse Racebook.
Good morning and welcome to Racing Across America on this Friday morning. Again, a little bit different than it has been. The humidity has clearly dissipated. A little bit breezy this morning, but otherwise a nice day. If the sun starts to poke out, I think it's going to be a great afternoon up here with some nice racing. So if you're headed on up, I think you have a nice day ahead. And we have a nice morning ahead here on the show. A little bit later, Tom Amello, I see him in the green room. We'll do some horses to watch and more with Tom coming up a little bit later. Also, they both had wins yesterday, so I said, come on in, because I knew they wanted to come in together. Jay Provenzano from Flying P and Roddy Valente will join us in the last portion of the hour a little bit later on. But another person I've been chasing for the last couple of weeks, because I want to talk a little bit about a stakes runner he has coming up. It's our friend Jeremiah Englehart. He's joining us here in the opening segment to talk really a nice start to the meet so far. And we'll get a little Moplex conversation in as well. Jeremiah, good morning.
Good morning, Seth. Thanks for having me.
Happy to have you.
I'm a nice little warm-up compared to Jay and Roddy coming up later. That'll be nice.
The opening act. Yeah.
The appetizer.
As I said, I've been chasing you down, and you the last time you had a lacrosse tournament going on in Vermont, and yesterday you said, I don't know, I might have a baseball game, and you had a baseball game last night. I'll ask you as a parent, you have a regular brood. I have a nephew that lives in L.A., and I was down at Cooperstown a couple weeks ago because his 12-year-old was playing in a tournament, 12 baseball diamonds, 12-year-olds from morning until night, but he's in from L.A. I have a nephew who has his son, my great-nephew, a really good high school basketball player, but all summer long they've been traveling around, driving hours or flying to places.
Yeah.
It's different than when I was a kid, but with a brood like yours, I'm assuming you're probably bouncing around all the time with sports.
Yes, this summer with lacrosse, baseball, it gets pretty hectic. And my wife this weekend, she's taking my girls to Massachusetts for lacrosse. So I have Eli in his lacrosse tournament here in Saratoga. And then the boys, CJ and Jackson, their baseball tournaments here in Greenwich and Cambridge.
It's, I mean, we probably remember that when I was a kid, it was baseball season. Maybe I didn't play baseball in school, but I played some basketball and I played some football, and you had your season and summer was off, but it's a whole different.
It's a lot different these days. I enjoy it. Actually, someone asked me yesterday, I forgot who it was, but they're like, what's tougher, training horses or getting your kids all to the right events? And I'm like, you know what? That's a really good question. Like, I really don't know what it is.
I wish I thought of that, because I can certainly see that. What did you play in school?
I played football, basketball, and baseball.
Oh, okay, yeah. Because I know, past years the jockeys and trainers charity game for the chaplaincy. You're an enforcer under the basket.
You know what? I've gotten out of shape pretty over the last few years, and I've been using the excuse that I have football practice for the kids the night of the game, which usually I do. So I haven't been able to play the last couple of years, but it's a great time. It's a great event.
And it goes to a good cause.
Right. It always reminds me of how out of shape I really am.
I played a couple of years until I scored a basket, then I retired.
Yeah.
I still play over at the Y, though. I get in a little old man basketball at the Y just to keep in shape. All right, let's get back to horse racing now, and we'll start out with the big guy, Moplex. Boy, this was a lot of fun to see the victory when you took them out to Thistledown a few weeks ago. We're going to look back. June 21st, it's the Ohio Derby, Grade 3 event. Moplex is going to be the number 10 horse here. Gets it done over Chunk of Gold, who has been a nice player on the 3-year-old scene earlier this year. Talk a little bit about, A, your feelings on the race itself, and B, you said it, and we were all kind of aware, given the quarantine situation up here, this was kind of plan B. So, again, reflect a little bit on the win in the Ohio Derby.
Yeah, the way it worked out, like you said, it was kind of plan B. Originally we were in the Mike Lee, and we were slated to run there, and then probably if he handled that race fine. Came out. Our first test was going to be around 2 turns. It's probably going to be the New York Derby over at Finger Lakes. And from a timing standpoint, the Ohio Derby, the way it came up, and I asked Howard and Rick, listen, is it okay to give this race a shot? I think he's sitting on a big race, and then they were okay with it. They were actually over in Ascot when he ran. So, no, I mean, like you said, it couldn't have worked out any better than it did.
And he's a New York bred too. And I always say it, when you get a talented New York bred like this, and you mentioned you were thinking maybe Mike Lee New York Derby, but you wind up winning a grade 3. You have a nice New York bred, man, your options are kind of limitless. You can pick the big New York bred stakes if you want to, or go out and open company.
And not that we just solely look for New York breds, because we have open horses too. But like you said, that program, it leaves you open for so many different, ways to go. And nowadays, you're not restricted. Just you can have an out-of-state sire, and still have a New York bred here raised in New York. And they over time they've shown that they can compete with just about anything.
Yeah, no question about it. And the purses have been boosted a little bit too, which I think is nice on the New York circuit.
Yeah,
been boosted nicely. So, all right. Moplex, did he work yesterday? Did I see?
He worked today.
Yeah,
just actually, that's why I was running a little late when I came over here, but everything went well. Manny Franco was on him today, who will have the call for him in the Jim Dandy. And, our goal was to kind of keep him sharp, but not, let him do too much today. And I thought Manny did a really good job of that.
We over here across the street
on the main track.
Okay. How'd the work go?
Good. 48-4. Galloped out in 15 and change, and overall was pretty happy with that.
So again, I always say we get new folks involved when we're up here at Saratoga tuning in, and I like to pick trainers' brains a little bit and get some of the the nuts and bolts of the game. You got a guy, you have a big runner aiming at a big stake next weekend. You had your work today, your main work today. What do you do the rest of the week?
Pray. Basically pray. And no, I mean, it's you try not to especially for the team at the barn and everything, you keep everything the same. Listen, it's business as usual. Every day is basically Groundhog Day when you come into work for the team. But my preparation, I'll figure out kind of what I want him to do throughout the week, depending on how he's training in the morning. If I think he's being a little too aggressive, I'll try to back off on him a little bit. He's a horse that loves to train, and he wants to go fast whenever he can. So, you're constantly playing with his training just about daily. But other than that, it's you're like any other race. You're going into it the best you can, and you figure out the best way to get there.
Is a horse like that who's maybe a little bit aggressive in the morning tougher to train?
No, I mean, he's got a great exercise rider. Adorno has been on him since last fall, and he's difficult in the fact that you try to keep him slowed down. But other than that, it's also nice having a horse that wants to do it every day.
Yeah.
So he makes it easy in that regard.
So the game plan, Jim Dandy, next week, do you have any thought, or are you just going to kind of wait and see how he comes out of that?
Yeah, I mean, just kind of wait and see. First step is, how does he compete in there? Obviously you're taking on the best 3-year-old in the country right now with Sovereignty, maybe even the world, who knows? But, you just go from there one step at a time.
Yeah, I totally get it. A 3-year-old at this point in the year, and as you say, having the potential to step up against a really good Sovereignty. Yeah. So
Bill Mott, he's been giving me some jabs here this week because I was always trying to get him and Mike McCarthy to kind of lead into the Belmont, kind of throw journalism, Sovereignty, throw out some barbs at one another. And he's been getting me pretty good. He goes, "Oh, now it's you. Now you have to be the one to throw out some barbs." And he's great. Bill's awesome.
Yeah. Speaking of getting barbs, there was Andy Serling tossed out a little hot dog reference, and I didn't realize, but then you tweeted back a picture. We had the hot dog promotion coming up. Did you partake? The picture looked like.
I really tried. I had 4 hot dogs, my first 4 that I ate. And then Eli, my son, was going up to get some hot dogs. I'm like, grab me 2 more. And I tell you, after the 6th one, I was done. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, I should easily be able to do 12 dogs per 12 races or 11 races, whatever it was, 11 dogs. Could not do it. Could not do it.
And that would only been $12 because of the promotion.
Yeah, and that was a great
it was
too.
And people were talking about it. It was funny, and I all weekend long I got to get a hot, and then I never got one.
Next year it's got to be bigger. Maybe we even have the Coney Island Joey Chestnut come in on dollar hot dog day. He would actually probably break Naira that day.
I like that. Very good. Again, I said when I promoted during the Handicappers Report, you're off to a nice start, and that includes yesterday. Let's take a look at a couple of the winners from yesterday, because I made this one my dark horse play of the day. I was a little upset. We were 7-2 on the morning line, and I'm looking for a little value, but everybody was watching the show, obviously, and jumped. I don't know about that, but everybody did jump on it. 9-5, inexperienced. This was a nice victory for this horse. On the front end all the way around with Jose Ortiz in the saddle. As I say, an impressive wire-to-wire job for inexperience.
Yeah. I think Jose really did a good job taking the race, to everyone early on. I was very surprised to see him on the lead. But
were you really?
Yeah. I when it's Jose, I know Jose studies the races just about probably as much as anyone. And he's very in tune to kind of what he wants to do and what he, an idea. I had him on the horse a couple weeks ago to breeze him. I knew he had confidence in the horse that morning, so I kind of let him, do his thing, and it obviously worked out really well.
24, 48, 12.
Yeah.
He was walking the dogs out there.
In comparison to the stake, I think in the next race, he was crawling.
Yeah. And Miramati's call was, it's a blowout.
Yeah,
and as a player, I love that. As a trainer, you really must love that.
I did, because at the time I was getting about 5 or 6 congratulations from people that I was watching the race from. And at that time, like, they haven't crossed away. But when I heard him say that, Frank does an amazing job as it is, but it's always fun listening to his calls.
Yeah, no question about it. First time starter in race number 6 yesterday, Sacred Goddess. Brother Irad Ortiz was on board that one. Again, went off as the favorite, so I'm assuming there was a little buzz floating around, but Sacred Goddess looked very good in the debut as well.
Yeah, this was a filly for Jason Worth and his group, Icon Racing.
That first win for the group, right?
First start for the group and the first win.
Excellent.
So, but I was telling Jason, since I put her on the grass in the morning in the turf gallops here at Saratoga, her attitude is really, perked up. For the last 2 to 3 weeks, I think her workouts were more aggressive. Just the way her training was in the morning, she seemed like she was kind of keyed up. And I told Irad before I gave him a leg up, like, she seems like a filly that likes to have something to run at. And I thought he did a really good job of that. He didn't have cover on the outside, and she kind of blew the turn a little bit, kind of first inexperience and stuff like that. But all in all, worked out well.
Nice late run. And I remember when you said that I read it was Jason's first start, first win.
Yeah.
Gotta love that. And he's been great for the game.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Like, and I tell you, like, he's one of those guys who's been in the prime time, the spotlight, and you wouldn't know it from talking to him. I mean, he just seems like a regular guy. Makes it a lot of fun to do, and a guy that you pull for all the time.
Yeah, sure. I got to get him over here this season. I had him last year. As you say, down to earth and fun to talk to. So I got to get him over here now after a nice win like that. We can talk about that as well. And speaking of nice wins and debut efforts, we're going to go back to the July 6th weekend and look at Toga Twist, getting it done under Manny Franco. Again, another nice debut winner up here at Saratoga. As I say, a season that you've gotten off to a really nice start with.
Yeah, this colt, we were actually really high on all spring. Kind of, we've done in our barn, we've done a 2-year-old rankings list. Usually weekly. We've been a little lackadaisical in the last few weeks leading to races, but this guy was kind of always up towards the top of the list. I wasn't 100% sure I had him really cranked up to go first time. I felt like he was maybe 75 to 80% fit, but I thought on ability alone, he'd have a good shot of getting the job done.
I sweat out the photo there a little bit, but
yeah. And I know John Ortiz. I knew he liked his horse a lot too. He had told me after after the race that he thought his horse was pretty special.
Yeah,
too.
well, I would think you two are chart margins about 8 lengths ahead of the third place.
Yeah.
Back. So Valentine Crusader may be one to watch next time, but Toga Twist certainly offered a nice effort. You speak of keeping a list. I will alert people at Saratoga Special did a barn tour with you guys if they'd like a little inside info on some of your runners.
I'm blessed to be able to do. I think Todd always gets the first barn tour, and then I was second one year, and I think I had a really good year. So Tom and the Clancy guys said, "Listen, we'll put you second every year." So I'm always the second, and I'm like, "Listen, I just hope I have enough horses for you guys to at least make a couple pages out of it."
Well, if you have some nice 2-year-olds like that, first-time starters, people always like info on that. And I'm assuming, inexperienced Sacred Goddess, Toga Twist, having wins this early in the meet, you're going to be looking for spots coming up before the season.
Yeah, ideally try to, obviously when they're 2-year-olds and they break their maiden, you're looking for, you pretty much got to run in stake races. There isn't really any allowance opportunities, but we'll try to find the right spots for each one, and hopefully can work out a plan to get them to those races.
Worked out up here last year with Moplex.
Yeah.
And I have to show it after the win by Toga Twist. The Fox show, Maggie teased you up to do a little Toga Twist and give your interpretation. And what I was intrigued with, the kids are looking at Dad and they seem, they're taking it all in. You realize that was national television, right?
Yeah. There's nothing I probably wouldn't do. I was kidding with the owners after the race. I'm like, listen, I'll do any dance, but just do not name a horse after the limbo, because they got no shot. If I see someone, two people holding a stick, and there's no shot, I'm not doing it.
I like that. Very good. Jeremiah, as always, appreciate the visit. Always have a lot of fun, and I definitely wanted to get in some conversation about Moplex with that one's nice Ohio Derby win. That was fun to watch a couple of weeks ago out at Thistledown. Looking forward to that one next week in the Jim Dandy and beyond, as they say, with a nice New York bred, all kinds of options with these youngsters who we saw win over the last few days. Looking forward to them coming back later in the meet. Great start to the meet. Congratulations.
Thanks,
Good luck going forward.
Thanks for having me. Really appreciate it.
Jeremiah Englehart. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, Tom Amello is in the house. A little bit later on, Jay Provenzano and Roddy Valente will join us as well. We continue racing across America for a Friday. Stay tuned.
Sometimes it pays to go with the flow, to check your worries at the door, to reconnect with your crew, to follow the thrills and the flavor, to roll with it and see where it takes you, to enjoy every minute to its fullest, and to dance like there's no tomorrow. You can do that here at Rivers Casino and Resort Schenectady, where the good times flow.
For centuries, the bond between horse and human has been forged in trust and hands-on care. Thoroughbred racing is combining that tradition with cutting-edge technology to raise our standards even higher. New investments in wearable biometrics, advanced imaging, and AI help optimize our safety programs.
That opening quarter mile was a quick one.
Every day, a commitment to improving their care. So win or lose, it's safety that runs first. To learn more, visit safetyrunsfirst.com.
Welcome back to Racing Across America. As promised before the break, it's our friend Tom Amello joining us for his weekly visit. Apologies on Wednesday. I got bumped because I ran into Craig Mikowski Tuesday night at the Chuck Simon Celebration of Life over at the museum, and Craig was not going to be in town long, so I plugged him in on Wednesday, which was your normal spot. So you got the Johnny Carson in the green room. You got
no apologies.
Don Rickles went long.
No apologies needed. I've been bumped from a lot of things in life, and you deal with it.
Yeah.
And you were kind. You offered to truncate the show, but you don't have to do that.
Yeah.
Craig deserves as much time as you can give him. He's a great guy, and so did everybody else. Morning, racing fans, and welcome to the first day of fall. Now that the heat wave has mitigated, Seth, I wanted to start today. Just making a comment on off the turf. It's going to happen again. Everybody's going to be upset. But there's an analogy I'd like to make that I think makes sense. I'm a retired educator. I taught high school for over 30 years. And students and teachers love snow days. But the superintendent hates snow days. And he hates snow days. School superintendents, one of the most difficult decisions they make is to close schools because the roads may be or are proven to be unsafe. And the worst thing that can happen is to put a school bus of kids into a ditch or to have an accident. And so school superintendents err on the side of caution. And it upsets parents who have custody problems now. What am I going to do with my kid? I got to get him. And everybody's upset. No more nor less upset than when they take them off the turf here. And this is a 40-day meet, 49-day meet, if you will. It's a surface that gets used because we love turf racing here at Saratoga, and there's wear and tear. I don't know what an unsafe turf course is. I'm not a jockey. I don't ride horses. I'm not an agronomist or a turf specialist. I don't know. Am I happy when they're taken off the turf? Never, because generally I've worked 3 days out. Okay, so the regular handicapper can go, oh darn, and then you re-handicap, and you're not going to get caught because they're off the turf. And so I would ask for a little patience in the context of breakdown. The optics of a breakdown or an injury or a jockey getting hurt are much worse than taking them off the turf and running them on the dirt. Yeah. And so that's my 2 cents on that.
Yeah, we had Glenn Kozak in the other day, the track super, who's one of the best in the country, and on Sunday morning kind of explaining things. And it's not just the danger that day, it's you do things to a wet turf course that plays into days forward. And I asked Glenn, and I knew the answer. There are decisions made on day 3 that are going to be different than day 36 because day 3 you have the whole meet left, and day 36 you only have a few days left. And believe me, they do not want to do away with turf racing because the large fields and the way I said, be happy that these days we can make those complaints because you remember there was the time, a few seasons where you could go into the infield. But you went into the infield at Saratoga over a wooden path that was over the turf course. So if they were open in the infield on the weekend, hard for people to believe now, but there was no turf racing because they were allowing people into the infield. And so the turf racing and how important it has become has changed markedly, certainly.
Sure. Context is everything. By the way, you asked a question, you knew the answer to it. Are you a lawyer now?
I try to make sure I do that most of the time. Otherwise, you get the nasty surprises occasionally. It's like, oh, I didn't
look.
I want to take that one back. All right,
let's go.
Some horses to watch, and we'll kick things off with July 12th. You have some horses to watch there.
Yeah.
And it's going to be race number 2 from July 12th, and we're going to be taking a look at number 3, Fancy Footwork, number 5, Ginger Ale, and number 4, Fraudster.
Yeah, this race, the second race on the 12th, was a loaded 2-year-old race. And the interesting thing to me, as we get to watch the race here, the number 3, out of the gate last, Johnny Velasquez riding. This is fancy footwork for Amelia Green. And this horse was fractious before the start, swishing its tail, just looking as uncomfortable as could be. And he raced that way. We'll talk about the fact that you watch him finish up. This is a long striding colt. I don't think 6 furlongs is what this hole wants. He's a daughter. She's the daughter of Curlin, so they're going to go longer with this one. The second horse we were looking at was Fraudster. Now, Fraudster was off slow and is racing number 4. And you could see him coming into the picture now, racing wide throughout, never gets close. Look at him widest. You know, it's a wet track. The inside's always a little better on a wet track. And he's going to keep on. And what is an interesting debut. He's not getting abused. This is a Pletcher trainee. Now, on the inside, you could see the 3 Fraudster keeping on. And so this is actually not a bad debut, given how he looked before the race and the pedigree. We mentioned Ginger Ale the 5. This is from Rudolph Brousset, and he was heavily bet, but he chased Superior Speed and did the dirty work. And I like horses who show grit and determination chasing Superior Speed, especially on a track that was favoring speed. So this looks like it could be a key race going forward. As always, you want to see where they're going to place them. I'm very interested to see what happens with fancy footwork. Yeah. I think you'll see 6.5, maybe 7. And this is, I didn't see much quickness to the stride. So this might be a grinder who's going to just get better as we go longer.
But to get up for 3rd after that start and really entering the stretch was way back there. So the 3rd was nice. And Fraudster, you look at the trip note on your 9 wide for Fraudster. So
yeah. He was not getting that $1 hot dog.
There were a couple there of interest. Also, on July 12th, you wanted to take a look at race number 10. We're going to look at number 5, Scotland, in here.
Okay, well, Scotland is not an unknown horse.
Yeah.
And Scotland was up against it in this race. Concrete Glory, Safi Joseph, 11-1, was just laid down fast fractions over this track. Now, you watch Scotland here. This is just a solidly strong effort, solid effort on a track and against the horse he wasn't going to catch.
Yeah.
I mean, if there was any pressure perhaps on the Concrete Glory early, maybe he'd have come back to this field after laying down 44-4. But Scotland's a horse. And maybe, this isn't his best distance. I think he wants it a little longer if he gets a similar pace. I think Scotland's going to be a horse to look for next time out.
Yeah, he was less than a length back on the chart margins there. And neck first to second, 3/4, second to third. So it was a nice run there again against a winner that ran rather powerfully in there. All right, let's take a look now at the 13th, the lucky July 13th card. We'll kick things off with race number 6 on the 13th. We're going to take a look at the number 1 final score, who's in the back early but winds up running second. So, again, number 1 final score on the 13th.
Yeah, this is a Pletcher debut runner. And, I think over time you could say that Pletcher's horses, young horses, almost have trouble out of the gate. They've never been great gate horses. But he had trouble here. And what I like about this race, he's going to drop back or at least lose position here as they enter the turn. So he was even with the front 4 and now dropping back on the insides. The 1 horse in Micropoli's colors. And you watch him coming up the fence here. He's moving quite well. And I like horses who show some early foot, settle, and then try again. So this is a nice effort, given it's a bad start. Sometimes you don't need anybody to tell you that a Rapoli horse or a Pletcher horse is going to improve second out. But I think watching races, truly informs the handicapper. And you can make a decision if at a short price, no, this horse is running dead straight
This is a nice
along the
stretch
rail,
run. Yeah.
gallops out past the field.
Yeah.
That's a really nice effort. And so if he's 3 to 5 or 4 to 5, maybe he's an anchor in a horizontal play, or you make a choice. But it's always good to think.
Final score.
Final score.
And also from the 13th, we're going to look at Little Lang, race number 7 on the 13th.
This is my favorite.
Little Lang is going to be the number 1 horse.
Watch
here.
this.
Number 1.
Watch this. He's going to stumble. Now he's going to get herded towards the jock is saying, "What?"
Yeah.
All right. So let's just drop it. So, he's running into the fence. Now look at him here. He's eager, but look at the jock's knees and his legs. He's got his heels into him. I mean, this is a horse that looks like he wanted to run and really didn't get a chance to run. And it's really one of the important aspects of watching races out of the chute. I mean, there are a lot of people who hate the chute, but we got to handicap it, don't we?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So, some horses are going to get compromised. Others are going to get advantaged. If neither one win and they come back, that's a handicapping factor. So here he is again. He still has to angle past this horse who's kind of sliding backwards. He's in the yellow cap here. I think he's going to get back to the inside. And this is, again, a decent effort from a horse who was bet. This horse was actually bet the
close up
favorite.
second choice.
Close up second choice. And so, whoever they are, had some expectations that Lil Lang was going to run well. And I think this is a credible effort from this run.
Yeah, given the trip. That is a trip note there, no question about it. And finally, we have a replay as well. And you did send me the winner's circle picture.
I did.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Email because I looked it up.
Okay.
But this is from July 11th. It's our friend The Wiz gets it done with Walk With Me back on July 11th. It's going to be the number 10 horse in here.
Well, I'm going to tell you one thing. First of all, this horse is named Walk With Me because that's a conversation Wiz has had with his wife, Noreen, all their life. Come on, walk with me. And so they got this horse. But we're talking about this not because the Wiz won, but because this is Walk With Me is an example in management and condition book and positioning a horse. Michael wanted off the turf for this horse. This horse was entered and would only run if this race came off the turf. He's a lucky guy. he got Monsoon. There we are. Thank you so much, fellas. I appreciate that. But twice this week, this happened. And one, Wiz wanted it off the turf. It came off the turf. Now it's a 4-horse field. Linda Rice has the favorite, who's a nice horse, but hasn't been 2 turns. So you've got 2 horses, 2 to 1 or less. The Wiz's horse, Walk With Me, has been 2 turns, been a mile. It's lasted a mile and an 1/8, and now it's cut back to a mile on the inner. A horse with tactical speed. So what you're talking about here, and what I want to bring up, is the whole notion of handicapping and thinking about trainer-owner intent. Why is this horse in the race? What are they trying to accomplish? Is this really a spot where you're looking for a purse or you want to? And so I think, and I do it all the time here with Formulator, when the races come off the turf, I look at trainer stats and see which trainers win when they come off the turf. Because there are people who, Jimmy Jerkins was one of those guys. And so later this week, Linda Rice had a horse from the 14 hole, entered only off the turf.
Yeah, she plays that main track only game very well.
The race came off the turf, and it still looked post 14, but she was only post 7. Yeah. Post 7, 9 to 1. And people scratch their head and say, how do you get 9 to 1 on Linda Rice? Well, she's as cagey as the day is long. Now, the other thing I just want to say about Walk With Me and horses. Walk With Me is run 10 times. 3 races are complete throwouts, 1 in the mud, 1 on the turf, and 1 with trouble. So really, she's had 7 opportunities to run. She's 7, 2 wins, 2 seconds, 2 thirds. Horses ran a new top last time, 2 back, and has never run faster than a 71 buyer. Now, you would think, how the heck do you win 230,000 with a slow horse? You know how you do that? Management and intent. This is a New York bred. I'm sorry. Now I'm going to say one last thing. So I talked with Michael. He understood we were going to talk about Walk With Me here. I said, so what's next? So he said, not with tongue in cheek, I'd like to get her black type. I'm looking for 1.25 miles on the turf. We'll run main track only, pray for a monsoon, and we'll take those turf horses as far as we can. So there you go, folks. Put Walk With Me in your stable, man.
If
but the point is
up in an MTO stakes race, keep your eyes open.
But the point is, there's a condition book, which means where horses are placed is not random.
Yeah. And you mentioned a stat I would like to see in the racing form is how trainers do. And I get why they don't do it, because it might not happen. But those little stats underneath,
sure.
I would love to see trainers who are in the body of the field but stay in, and how often they win.
Oh, you just said the 2 words that you can ask Roddy when you come in here. Why do the stewards allow main track only horses to scratch out after it's off the turf? Now, I'll give injury. You know, if something happens to the horse, you get sick, fine. But way too many of them.
Sometimes
you're
out. Looking, it's like, oh, they had this race over a barrel. What happened?
Yeah. Right. No. Okay.
Tom, appreciate the visit as always. We'll get you. I assume we'll get you next Wednesday in the
I'll put my bumpers on. We'll see what happens.
Well, we appreciate your, as I say, switching up a little bit this week and giving us some ideas of some horses to look at going forward. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, they're in the house. Roddy Valente and Jay Provenzano both had some winners yesterday. We'll talk about those and more right after this. Stay tuned.
It's been referred to as possibly the best equine-themed gift shop on the planet. Impressions of Saratoga. Impressions of Saratoga, celebrating the Saratoga and equestrian lifestyles. It's your #1 choice for Saratoga souvenirs, apparel, and gift shopping. We have gifts for the entire family, and we're pet-friendly too. Visit us online at impressionssaratoga.com or come on down. Impressions of Saratoga, 368 Broadway, downtown Saratoga.
Why just watch the races when you can be in the middle of the action? For nearly 20 years, Bonaventure Stables' share-based ownership program has made thoroughbred ownership affordable for the everyday fan. Ownerships of 5 and 10% are now available on a nice selection of horses. As a partial owner with Bonaventure Stables, you'll enjoy all the benefits afforded every owner. Visit with your horse in the private stable area. Greet the trainers and jockeys in the paddock. And when your horse wins, savor the moment in the winner's circle at Saratoga, Belmont, Aqueduct, or wherever you bring home the prize. Based in historic Saratoga Springs, Bonaventure Stables has been training winners and creating memories since 2005. Learn more, see available horses, and meet our team at bonaventurestables.com.
Welcome back to Racing Across America. I said at the top of the show, I saw them day one or day two over on the front side sitting together. I said, got to get you guys over here. It's our friend on the far end, Roddy Valente, Jay Provenzano from Flying P. And when they both won a race yesterday, I said, perfect timing. Come on in on Friday morning. Gentlemen, welcome.
How you doing, Seth?
Good to be here.
Very
Seth.
good. Talk a little bit about, I'll ask you first, Roddy. How'd you guys meet?
Through Bruce Levine.
Okay.
Yeah, I had horses there, and then Jay came a little bit later on, and we've been friends ever since. Good friends.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah.
And always like to get a little insight. Certainly Flying P, people are familiar with the colors, and great season last year as well. We probably hit on this before, but for folks who maybe don't remember or weren't tuned in, Jay, how'd you get involved in the game?
My father was a jockey down in like Pimlico, Bowie, Laurel, Timonium, Charlestown, that kind of circuit, Marlboro.
Yeah.
And so I was like born into the game. A bunch of uncles were jocks, and just fell in love with it the minute I could go to the track, and I've never fallen out of love with it.
How long have you owned?
Since 2004, 2005, I started owning.
And were you right from the beginning on your own, or partnerships, or?
No, like share a horse with a friend,
Yeah.
kind of thing. And then I kind of, I don't like direction too well. So, I like to have a plan, execute my plan, whether it's a winning plan or a failing plan. I live and die by it.
Yeah.
So, there are a few people that I enjoy being partners with. Me and Roddy have had a couple horses together.
Can't get lucky.
No, we can't together. So we've gotten lucky in life. No. But there are a few people that it's a harmless partnership, and not 85 different brains trying to run the thing. So I just I kind of like doing my thing, and yeah.
Roddy, how'd you get in the game? I'm sure we've touched on that before, but
My uncles were in the harness game,
Oh, okay.
and
Up here?
yeah,
Oh, very
yeah,
good.
they built a farm on the backside of the gravel pit like years ago, and I got kind of hooked onto that. Got started in with the harness horses, and then once I got the bug over here, it was all over for the harness game. But it's a love affair. Jay knows that, but it's addicting too.
How long have you owned?
I bet you I'm close to 30 years. That just tells you how old I am.
I have another question for both of you guys, because you're both prominent business people, presidents of companies and whatnot. Does that help on the ownership side of things? Because you're New York fixtures, but you have horses around the country. And so, as I say, being business leaders and having run companies, does that help administering things, or is racing just an escape from business?
You go first.
All right. For me, it's a love affair first, but it's a business, and it has to be run like a business. And if it isn't run like a business, you really can, they say it can take a billionaire and make a millionaire, and a millionaire a brokester, and when you're dealing with the amount of horses and the amount of bills and what your monthly nut is, it's, it has to be played right. I might play it a little bit differently, and sometimes you could look at it if you had a P&L on something like that, but you take something for 62 and it's not right. You have to cut bait, so I have to play it very aggressive because the bills don't stop coming. Am I right?
Absolutely.
Talk a bit about the business side now.
To me, it's a no-brainer. First of all, horses don't talk back to you. So you could have the worst day at work, and you have, in my business, in construction, there's always bad news. And then I can call one of the trainers, one of them worked a bullet, and it's like you forget about everything that you got at work, and it's a grade out for me, anyways. That's how I look at it.
Part of the grade out, as I said, was yesterday, and let's take a look at some of the action from yesterday. First up, we're going to take look at race number 4. It was McCaw, Linda Rice, and Roddy Kendrick Carmouche on board. We're going to watch them come down the stretch here. They don't get more exciting than that. Maybe not exciting for you, but for the race fans, exciting, because we'll also show the photo. This came down to an inch, but it will be number 2, McCaw, getting it done over Shlomo in a great stretch duel that went right to the wire. Roddy, talk a little bit about your emotions here in the close finish.
I gave all the credit to Linda and especially Kendrick. I mean, Kendrick rode his buns off, and when you see the margin, I didn't think we lost, but when I watched the photo, I was nervous. Look at that.
Live, I thought you had it, and then they showed the slow-mo replay, and I thought, I'm not sure. And
same with me.
Yeah.
Like, because my box is right on the wire. So when I saw it instantly, I said, Roddy got it. And then they come to that second clip, and I was like, uh-oh, I'm going to have to watch it a third time now. And then when it got to the slow one, I was like, all right, good, you got it.
But the margins do not get, that was razor thin there. And Jay, it was a little bit later in the day, a little bit of a different margin at the end, which makes you sit back and just relax as they come towards the wire. But again, the 7th race yesterday, it's going to be Great Richie M, trainer Mike Maker, Irad Ortiz on board, and just gets it done pretty easily in here. And again, these are the kind you love. You see the pink silks out there, and you don't have to sweat down the stretch.
No, again, like I said in the post interview, I really don't like going to the gate 4 to 5, 3 to 5, because I feel the pressure. I kind of like a 3 to 1, a 5 to 2, 7 to 2. That's it's no pressure, but I feel like I'm in the right spot. But you take a horse like him, and you drop him into that kind of race. He's supposed to do exactly what he did there.
Yeah, and as I say, a little bit of a different chart margin there has to make you a sigh of relief when they get it done, as you say, at the short price where you may feel a little bit of pressure on you. Roddy, I'll go also back to a little bit earlier in the meet, going back to July 12th. Going to be Burnin' Hunk of Love getting it done. Chad Summers training, Jose Ortiz on board. And as I say, this was early in the meet. Gotta love to get off the schneid. What was it, day 2 or day 3?
What day was it, Jay?
It was last week.
Yeah, the 12th. So it had to be day 3, I think.
Oh, I know. It's like when you win first time out here, it's like in that 800-pound gorilla off your back. Because last year I got shut out up here. That's a long meet.
Oh, yeah.
Long meet. Yeah. And Jay was,
on fire.
I thought he was going to win the title last year. He had some meet, God bless him. Yeah, this one was a little bit easier than yesterday.
And as I say, to win early in the meet, that gets you going nicely. And Jay, I wanted to show one from you because I mentioned you guys are New York fixtures, but you're both playing around the country now. A lot in Kentucky for both of you guys. But I'm going to go back and watch Game Warden back in February down at Oaklawn, because you've had some nice runners at Oaklawn over the past couple of years at least. And Game Warden gets this victory. And I showed this one because Game Warden is entered tomorrow or Sunday, but MTO.
MTO.
I'm guessing the game plan will be you don't get in. You got something coming up.
Right. Well, we're going to go to the marathon race here.
Okay.
I
can't think of it.
No, it was Zito's horse, Birdstone.
Yeah, the Birdstone. Yeah, you got
Birdstone.
it.
I went it with Lone Rock a couple years back, and when we took this horse, we won 2 races with him up here last year, me and Norm, and we found out that he just wants to train all day, and he's put in 2 really good efforts, going long, and I think. The Birdstone, I believe, is a 1.75 miles, and I think he was just doing like 1.5 miles. So I kind of like the stretch a little further on it for him. So.
Yeah, Lone Rock was a real marathon specialist for you. And those kind of fun. I like those marathon races, and
to be the Coyote Lakes.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, I wanted to talk to both of you about some nice graded stakes winners throughout the career. Roddy, I'll start with you because Bustin' Stones. Grade 1 Carter, going back a few years, and has gone on to become a sire. Talk a little bit about Bustin' Stones, a homebred, now a New York sire, the New York program that is very lucrative when you get a nice little sire like Bustin' Stone. So just remember him a little bit. And I love the name given the career.
We just use him for advertisement. He's a family member. It's just, you know, he never lost the race. You know, he wasn't the soundest horse in the world, and you know, as far as a producer, it's just amazing, the New York bred program. You know, like even we had Paul Barrow won a maiden. Now it's a $32,000 race. I got like the breeder award and the stallion award was $10,000 for, you know, that's a lot of money. And actually, we just retired Bustin' Stone.
Okay,
he bred his last mare. There was a horse, Jerry, he stands at Dr. Belinsky's, and there was a horse that couldn't get in foal to Bachero for the last 3 times. So they took him to Bustin', and he just told me on the way up that the horse took. So that'll be his last one.
Oh, okay. So we have that to look forward to. But yeah, Bustin' Stones has been a lot of fun. And as a siren, you kind of mentioned it. But yeah, the New York bred program, if people aren't familiar, if you have a nice sire, you can just sit home and watch races that other people win, but you're getting the check.
It's like watching one of your grandkids playing ball every day.
Clipping coupons.
Like that.
But I don't miss one of them. Excuse me, no matter where they run. I got them all on my stable watch, so it's like, you know, and you root for them. You got a vested interest in them, so it's fun. And now they're going to be at 40% in 26, so that's big money.
Yeah, no, I always say the New York bred program has changed so much over the years. I have watched. And Jay, just looking up some of the nice horses you've had over the years. Frosted Grace, grade 3 winner at Oaklawn in the Oaklawn Mile last year. We mentioned Lone Rock. Got to be fun when you can get you know, you play the game a lot at the claiming level, and have made some clever claims that went on to go on to win some of these nice stakes races. So talk a little bit about playing the claiming game, but then you wind up with one who then goes on to grab a graded stakes. That's got to be satisfying.
You mentioned a couple good ones, but there's far more duds in between there, you know. So, you know, every once in a while you catch a gem. Both of those that you mentioned were like $40,000 claims. And yeah, Lone Rock, we claimed him up here. He was sprinting, going 3/4, and he just wasn't getting there.
Yeah.
But he was putting in a hell of an effort. And he was a gorgeous looking horse. As we trained him and stretched him, he just wanted to go further and further. And I remember we run him in a race. It was like a mile and 16th or a mile and an 1/8 or whatever. And I remember Robertino calling me and saying, you know, there's a race like in 2 weeks going 1.5 miles. I'd love to give him a shot. And I remember where we were. We were in Christine Lee's. It was one of those marathon races. It was a stake or whatever, and he just got beat, and then he figured out what he wanted to do. And I think maybe we might have, you know, ran him a little too quick or whatever. But then spacing the races, we learned how to space the races, and he was nonstop. You know,
did he win the Brooklyn?
He did win the Brooklyn. Yeah,
that's prestigious.
He won the Brooklyn. He won the aftercare. It was an undercard on the Breeders' Cup.
The marathon on the Breeders' Cup card.
It was.
Right.
It was. He was really special. You know, like the Coyote Lakes was. You know, to watch them do that and how they could do it and maintain. You know, it's like, you know, and when he was in form, he was like a men against boys.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so
The one good thing about marathon horses, you can take an average horse, and when you find their niche that they want to go long, now you got a stake horse. And unless you take that risk and take that shot to try him, like you guys wanted to do the 1.5 miles, you never know.
Yeah.
There's probably so many more horses that never get the opportunity, but you got to roll the dice.
Yeah.
But there are not too many of those races there except on turf, you know, and now they've even downsized, like that aftercare on the card race is not there anymore. The Brooklyn is not there anymore.
No.
Maybe it will
There's
be
still
when we
one
get
at
back.
Parks, though, right? They still do that?
There is that green cup, whatever. Yeah. And we get the one up here, you know, the Birdstone, but there's the Isaac Murphy, and there's the other one that I think he won twice, the Temperance Hill.
Yeah.
But there's, like I said, there was 5 or 6. Now it's down to 4, you know, so you got a limited window.
I wish they would. I think it's a good race.
I'm with you. I
love it.
It's a throwback to when I first got into the game, and there were many more of those. But the
2 mile.
The game has changed, no question about it. I'll ask both of you because I know I said you race various around the country at various tracks, and both you played the claiming game. That Frosted Grace you claimed at Keeneland, and went around the country with that one. And Roddy, I know in the wintertime you claimed some horses down at Gulfstream. Talk about playing the claiming game and how you make the decisions of what horses to claim. You do that in conjunction with some of the trainers you use. How do you decide which one to pick up?
I know everybody plays that game differently. You know, there's trainers that you're not supposed to claim off of, but a lot of times they'll lay them in there and you got to roll the dice. I mean, claim, that's all claiming is rolling the dice. You know what I mean? If you study, I've been taught by Bruce Levine. He's been my mentor for years. And what he would tell me is, Rod, you got to get a trainer's pattern. And when you see his pattern and when you see something maybe that he's doing different, then you got to attack. You know what I mean? Because everybody's sharp. You know, these trainers, it's not like a couple of them are sharp. If more trainers had the horses, their percentages would be better. This game is lopsided as far as how many trainers do have horses, but there's a lot of good, talented trainers out there. I mean, that's why I have so many trainers now, because I feel bad for a lot of the trainers that don't get horses to them. So I kind of try to spread it around a little bit more.
Yeah, which I appreciate. I like the thought process there. And Jay, you do similar types of things. You have some trainers in the mix, and again, you play the claiming game. What is your philosophy there?
So I have 10 trainers up here right now that have horses for me. I win with 5 different trainers last year up here, which I don't know if somebody's done that before.
That probably is a record. Most people, they got 1, 2, maybe 3, but I mean, like I actually won with 5 different trainers. And my thing, I have 10 trainers that have the opportunity. I'd love to see how close I can get to that one. I just like Roddy, I think everything has some kind of algorithm, and or pattern. And I watch them and I study them, and it's like he said, rolling the dice. It's taking risk. I mean, sometimes some things look too good to be true, and I don't believe it's Christmas in July. So I will maybe stay away from that. I do.
The one thing in this game, though, and I know Jay plays it very well, you can't be afraid to drop. Like, if you take one, I don't care if you take it for 62, 80. If you're not prepared to cut that horse in half, don't play the claiming game.
Well, that's where maybe as business people, you guys are plugged into that, because I think you look at some smaller outfits and you just realize they don't want to lose this horse and they don't want to drop. But I think you guys as business people kind of smell the coffee maybe sooner rather than later on horses that just, let's get to the right spot.
If I put a horse in a sale, I expect him to be sold. If I put a horse in a claiming race, I expect him to be claimed. I don't want somebody to apologize or anything. He's there for a purpose.
Yes.
Okay. And like Roddy said, I think it's been a little diluted, the claiming game, because of, I think people don't have as much fear, because now they have to pass, and these claims get voided. So people feel, well, if it's a dud, he's going to get, I didn't mind back in the day. I rolled the dice. If a horse, came back, you owned him. You know what I'm saying? So you really risked it then. Now I think people don't have as much fear. Yeah, there you go.
Well, let me ask both of you guys, because we talked about it today. There's a horse in with the waiver. You like the waiver rule? I thought it was a good addition.
I like the waiver rule because it allows you spent time, you spent money.
You do the right thing and put the horse on the sidelines.
So
that works.
I do like that. I wish that they would take a look at a rule that Oaklawn has here, because I come up here and I get picked apart, because I put them where they belong. So, I could lose 15 horses, coming up here for a meet. But to go ahead and to try to get a horse, well, that's tough when you're shaking against 10, 15. They have what's called the preference rule down in Oaklawn, where if you lose a horse, when you go to fill out your slip for the claim, you could check the preference box and say if 10 people were going in there and only 3 had lost a horse, well, the other 7 are excluded. So at least it gives the person the opportunity to replenish that horse, and also it makes people want to put them where they belong because they have the opportunity to try to get back a horse.
I didn't know that about
Oaklawn, it's a great rule.
Or even a weighted kind of situation where if you lost a horse, you get like 5 slips in there as compared to just do something like that.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but I think the preference, it really works.
No, I like that.
Going back to what Jay said though, like as far as like they'll kick a horse back, and I don't believe that. Like, to me, you fill out that slip, that horse was looked at in the morning by a state vet, and they look very hard at it. If something happens during the race, listen, it's going to work for you one time, it's going to work against you. But I think once you fill out that slip, that's your horse.
I agree.
To the race.
And
that's the way it should be.
That will keep the men away from the boys.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We played it where, and unfortunate sometimes it happens where a horse, it's catastrophic or whatever. If it happened, and I remember this like it was the other day, it was like, whoa, there was 5 people in for the horse. It was a 10,000, he took 50 yards, and we all said, all right, listen, let's cut the loss here, and we'll all share in this one, But you risked it back then.
Because you guys are prominent players.
Well, it makes sense. I mean, if a state vet approved my horse in the morning to run in the afternoon, that horse goes in that starting gate. If you take him, it should be yours, good or bad. And it's going to work for you, and it's going to work against you sometimes.
And they jog him up after the race. He just ran. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, you go run, you're going to get a cramp or something like that. I mean, that should be a reason. I don't think so.
You were nodding before, but so you agree with the waiver rule? You like that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
I've had it happen. I think it happened with McCaw. I mean, gave him the time off, and he couldn't touch me the first time. Yeah. You lay him back in for what you ran for, and he paid. He
to me,
up
it's
the
better
money.
for the bettors too, because the race you come back at, you can go the realistic spot rather than. I need the fitness, but I'm going to have to put him at twice what he's worth because I don't want to lose.
Yeah, you just put 12 grand into him. Giving him his 3 months off if you didn't have to do surgery or something.
That's a nice rule.
So it works out.
It's a very good rule.
Got to wrap it up, but Jay, before we go, I want you to reminisce a little bit because we've alluded to it already. But man, it was a great season last year. It really came down to the last few days of the meet.
It was a back and forth, week by week. And going into the last week, I think I was up 2 going into the last week, and just ran short on bullets, But it was it was a dream meet. Yeah. Couldn't have scripted it any better. All the racing luck that it takes to win a race, to have that happen repeatedly,
he got beat by a guy that is very good for the game. Claridge puts a lot of money up, so he has nothing to be ashamed of. Nothing at all.
It was a great meet, and you were right there right until the last few days. And so congratulations on that. Congratulations to both of you on a nice start to this meet as well. The wins we looked at. Hopefully many more to come as the meet progresses, but lived up to expectations with Roddy Valente and Jay Provenzano coming in, teaming up for the visit this morning. We appreciate it. And as I say, good luck going forward.
Thank you, Seth.
Thank you for having us, Seth.
All right, we'll wrap it up here on this Friday morning, racing across America. Again, a nice day. The humidity has clearly broken, and it looks like a great afternoon here on a Friday afternoon here at the racetrack. So come on up and enjoy the racing. As usual, back in tomorrow, 9 a.m. handicapper support, 10 a.m. racing across America. We'll see you then. Thank you. Very good. Appreciate it.
Haven't signed up for a Capital OTB account yet? Now's the time to take advantage of the sign-up bonus. Open up a new account with $200 or more, bet $400 by the end of the month, and receive a bonus $200 into your account. Plus, you can take advantage of everything an OTB account has to offer. Wagering from any device, live streaming, racing info, past performances, online promotions, and more. Sign up today and take advantage of the new account bonus. Details at capitalotb.com.
Come on.
I want sales reports on my desk by Monday.
Whoops. My bad.
Love racing? RTN brings you every live simulcast on your home television, plus live video streaming and race replays on your PC and mobile devices. To order, visit rtn.tv. RTN, a breed apart.
You've been watching Racing Across America. Racing Across America has been brought to you by Pinnell's Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, Saratoga, just minutes from the track. And the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany. When you can't make it to the track, make it to the Clubhouse Racebook.